Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
It's time for the Sports Blitz, the only live-streamed local sports show in Arkansas with all the latest on the sports stories that matter to you.
We hit high school football. The NBA season has tipped off. I am excited. If you watch LeBron James like I did yesterday, you will be very excited as well. We'll give you some more of a breakdown on that, as well as power rankings in the NFL and look toward the Razorbacks game this weekend.
Live from the River Valley Leader Studio, here are your hosts, Mark Freeman and Weldon Braxton.
Welcome into the Sports Blitz today. Mark Freeman, Weldon Braxton in studio, rivervalleyleader.com. And we are glad to be bringing you the Sports Blitz today, even though we have some very, very annoying, very annoying technical difficulties. We are happy to be here in the River Valley Leader Studio bringing you the Sports Blitz. We've got an hour, and we've got plenty to get through today, so we're glad you've chosen to join us. We want to hear from you. Go to facebook.com/RVLnews and facebook.com/SportsBlitz and let us know what you think about our poll question today. We've got a couple questions we asked just to try to get your opinion on sports. Today's Honda of Russellville poll question is coming soon. Let me get a hold of it. It is about the NBA. I know that. Well, I'm slacking here. I said today's Honda of Russellville poll question is who will win the NBA's Western Conference, the Lakers or the Thunder? That's your two choices. If you want to choose somebody else like the Spurs, you're wrong. So I'm just playing. If you want to choose one of those other ones, go ahead. I say Lakers, Thunder. Send us your NBA thoughts as we preview the season a little more today. And also, we were asking, just off the air today, we were asking the question, what's the best head coaching job in all of sports and why? If you could have any head coaching job in all of professional sports, college sports, whatever you want to coach, what would be the best job in the world and why?
That's a great question. I mean, you and I were going back and forth a little bit before the show as far as, you know, there's reasons for wanting a pro job, college job, different expectations, different levels of pay. All of those things factor in when you talk about what's the best coaching job in all of sports.
But there are more important things to start off with, and those important things include LeBron James.
That's what I thought.
Receiving his championship ring. He got his trophy. He got his MVP. He got his finals MVP. He got his gold medal. He finally got his championship ring.
Tell them about how you cried during the ring ceremony. That's what people really want to know about.
You know, my chills got chills, but I didn't cry. I didn't cry yet. I might.
Yeah, I mean, Miami, sensational. LeBron James had cramp issues. We got to look at those cramps. NBA Finals, we got to get on top of that. But the Miami Heat looked sensational. And I know it was just one game. I know Laker fans are saying, oh, first game doesn't matter. They just want to throw out last night. But I think the Boston Celtics have to be concerned as far as how they're going to challenge the Heat in the playoffs, because there are some things you can attribute to the first game, and there are some things that just aren't going to go away. I don't care if it's October. I don't care if it's May and June. And the Celtics have some issues with their size, trying to match up with Miami Heat and their athleticism. We're going to have to see how this unfolds as the season goes on.
It's gonna be fun. And there are also some quote-unquote punk moves that took place yesterday. We'll hit that here in just a little bit. The Arkansas Razorbacks basketball team played a red-white game last night. We'll get to that too, because it was a huge game for a couple different players. One of them who's not even eligible to play this year, and I really kind of wish that they hadn't let him play in this game so we didn't have to get teased. But they did have a red-white game last night ahead of some exhibition basketball that will be taking place very, very quickly. But let's look at local sports. Thank you to the Rack Furniture Warehouse, our local sports sponsor. The Russellville Cyclones host Greenwood on Friday night. It's going to be a tough matchup for the Cyclones, facing probably the 6A's best team.
Facing one of the best teams in the state. I mean, I've said it before. Greenwood moved up from 5A. Of course, they're now in the 6A, 7A Central Conference, and they really don't care. They don't care if you're 7A. They already beat Conway. They already beat Southside. Really, they take on all comers. I mean, this team's won over 30 straight games. An amazing program, an amazing job as far as what they're doing. I think if you're Russellville, you have to go into this game. It's senior night. You know emotions are going to be high. I just think you have to look and try to score points. That's really the best thing you can do. I've seen teams put up points, especially early against Greenwood. Now, give the Bulldogs credit. They make second-half adjustments. Teams aren't scoring on them at quite a frequent rate as they did in the first half. I think if you're Russellville, you just got to be aggressive, jump on them, defensively do what you can, and just try to make this game a shootout because it's going to be a tough game against Greenwood.
Well, the Cyclones will have the home crowd. They will have the senior night emotion. Hopefully they can use that to their advantage and get a win. That'd be a huge win for the Cyclones over Greenwood. Pottsville, I said that this game Friday night was going to be a get-right game, and I was talking more about the get-right as far as if you had somebody injured, you could sit them out because you don't have to worry about beating Waldron. You're going to beat Waldron. They're not very good, but it looks like Pottsville's going to have to use this game to get right in the sense that they're going to have to bounce back from a loss. Yeah. And that's something we didn't expect.
Yeah, I mean, they want to get right in that sense that you're talking about, but also you want to go into the playoffs on top of your game. And I know Waldron's not the kind of opponent that you can really test yourself and see how much you've improved, but if you're the Pottsville coaching staff, you tell your team, look, don't worry about Waldron. It's not about them. It's about us. It's about us as the Pottsville Apaches doing what we need to do as far as executing, getting back on track, taking care of the football, doing all the things we need to do to make a run in the 4A playoffs.
And they've got to, like you said, they've got to sort some issues out. They had 6 turnovers on Friday night, and that'll get you beat. Ask the Dallas Cowboys. It'll get you beat every time, but it's one thing. For me, I looked at it as kind of a blessing in disguise for the Pottsville Apaches. They know that if they don't come in and play, very disciplined football, they can get beat. They can see that the scoreboard says we can lose. Yeah. And when they lose in the regular season, it'll hurt, but it doesn't hurt as much as your season being over. So they know now what they've got to do to be able to go into the playoffs and get wins, move deeper. They want to go to the semifinals. They want to go to the finals. They want to win a state championship. They want to take this program to the next level. And this is probably the best Pottsville team that there's ever been as far as football goes. And that's saying a lot. So they're carrying a mantle, if you will. Dardanelle Sand Lizards, they look to be going to the playoffs as well. 19-14 winners over Maumelle on Friday night. They travel to Mena this Friday night, and they're trying to get another win. Just a backloaded away schedule, Weldon, for the Dardanelle Sand Lizards, who had a lot of games at home early on in the season against teams that weren't very good, and toward the end of the season, they get to go on the road and take on all these teams that are very good. And they took on Boonville and Pottsville in back to back, and then they've got Maumelle and Mena at the end of the season, 2 other favorites in the 4A4. It's a tough road to hoe for the Dardanelle Sand Lizards going into the playoffs.
Yeah, it really is tough. And you kind of look at how their schedules unfolded. Remember, early in the year, Dardanelle got off to that hot start, won their first 4 games. Then you hit Pottsville and Boonville, sort of the class of this conference. Then ever since then, they've kind of gotten back on track. They get sort of the guaranteed win against Waldron. Tough, kind of grinded out against Subiaco. And then they beat a Maumelle team that was really evenly matched with them. But now coming down the stretch, you go to Mena to close things out. That won't be an easy game. It never is going to Mena, but Pottsville knows playoff seeding and everything like that's involved. So I think Coach Price and company will be ready.
Reading through these teams, there's a couple other teams that have a chance to make the playoffs. The Morrilton Devil Dogs out of the 5A West, I believe. They beat Harrison 42-13 last week. They'll be taking on Clarksville this week. They'll probably get a win there going into the 5A state playoffs. Atkins takes on Danville this week. Danville lost 19-3 to Paris last week. Hector beat Midland 17-0. They take on Johnson County Westside at home this week. Two Rivers lost at Benton Harmony Grove 27-22, but they get Glen Rose this week at home, and Dover fell 49-22 to Waldron, but they get to take on Subiaco this week. Dover looking to get that win and get off the schneid there for the Pirates. I was very happy to meet some Dover fans this week who liked the photos that we took in the Fog game. Remember the Dover-Pottsville game? Took some pictures of both of those teams, and they're presenting those pictures to the coach and the seniors for senior night. I thought that was kind of cool. So that was a neat little experience there. And then Arkansas Tech, they're taking on East Central, 2 p.m. Saturday for Senior Day here at Russellville, the Thone Stadium at Burkle Field. And then also the Arkansas Tech Golden Suns volleyball team fell in a heartbreaker last night, a 4-set loss to Harding, which is their huge rival in GAC volleyball, giving them their only 2 losses of the year in conference.
Yeah. I mean, tough for the Arkansas Tech.
Only 2 losses in GAC ever.
Yeah, ever. I mean, the Arkansas Tech volleyball has been dominant. I mean, they hadn't lost since way back when they played one of the top teams in the country. Then they lose here to Harding. We know it's a rivalry. We know both teams are amped up for it. I'm not worried about the Golden Suns. They're going to roll right into the GAC tournament, and then they're going to make the NCAA tournament. They're going to make a run this year. I have no question about it.
Carly Florian was injured yesterday, and you ask why I know so much about Arkansas Tech volleyball.
I
follow Arkansas Tech Athletics on Twitter at Arkansas Tech Athletics and also the GAC. Go search them, find them, and follow them for all the latest in your Arkansas Tech sports news. Well, we mentioned coming in that the NBA season tipped off yesterday. We gave our predictions on Monday's show. If you haven't seen that and you wanted to find out who we predicted to win the NBA championship and things like that. But yesterday we got a couple games to kind of whet our appetite a little bit and get us ready for the NBA season. The first one, I say the first one. The first one was on TV because the Cavaliers and the Wizards played. Nobody really watched that. It was one of those tree in the woods things. Did it really happen? Yeah. The Cavaliers, that game was a little bit irrelevant, but the game that everybody paid attention to yesterday, the Boston Celtics at Miami to take on the defending champion Miami Heat, was very excited to see the way this game went because I was wondering how all these new additions would work, how the guys that were playing last year dinged up for Miami would play, and how the Celtics would look, new-look Celtics. All the bench players, it seems like, for the Celtics are new guys, and then they had to replace Ray Allen. And I was very happy with what I saw from my Miami Heat, and also I really liked the way Boston was put together.
Yeah, I mean, where do you even want to begin? First of all, I'm happy that the NBA is back. Anything that can help rescue me from watching the Arkansas Razorbacks play football, I'm always for it. The NBA has done that. The Boston Celtics taking on the Miami Heat. And really, both of these teams, I think, are far from being a finished product. I think both teams will get better because both teams made a lot of changes in the offseason. I mean, you want to start with the game. Let's start before the game. We were all looking to see how Ray Allen, KG, how that was going to go down. KG kind of gave him a cold shoulder. Didn't
that
even
was so
acknowledge
stupid.
it.
He's such a fake tough guy.
Oh, he's always,
He's one of those guys who – Ken made the point yesterday, our news director here. He's one of those why don't you two fight type guys. He always wants a big fight, but he doesn't want to be a part of it. Have you ever seen him throw a punch at anybody? No. For all his menacing looks and all the things he says and how tough he acts, he's never done anything.
But you know what's tough about it now is even though KG's never been a physical type player, get into it and mix it up for real, he's usually been able to back up that talk with his play, being one of the best players in the game. But now as he gets older, and now he's having to play the 5, which means there's more demands on him physically, he's just not the same guy. And I look at the Boston Celtics, and I do believe if anybody can possibly challenge the Heat in the East, it will have to be Boston. I don't believe in Brooklyn. I don't believe in even my New York Knicks from last year. Don't believe in the Pacers. Don't believe in the Sixers. But if Boston wants to play their best, they have to do it with the smaller lineup on the floor, KG at the 5. Okay, you go small, you no longer have a size advantage over the Miami Heat, which means you're saying you can play small ball. You're playing into their strength. Exactly. You can play small ball with the Heat is what you're trying to say, and obviously they can't do that. Now, again, new pieces, Jason Terry, Courtney Lee, Leandro Barbosa, the rookies, Melo and Sullinger, they got a lot to put together, and they will get better as the year goes on. But even when they do, I don't like how they match up with this Miami Heat team.
No, Kevin Garnett had 9 points and 12 rebounds, and the culture that the Celtics have put together is one of you're going to fear us because we're going to be physical. Right. We're going to get after you. And Rajon Rondo and Kevin Garnett yesterday just basically perfectly illustrated why I don't like that Celtics team. I respect them. I respect the way they're put together. I like Doc Rivers and the way he puts his thumbprint on the team. But Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen comes over to pat him on the side, and you basically say, hey, and he just looks at like he doesn't know who he is, and he looks away. And it's petty. It's childish, really, is what it is. It's childish.
Yeah.
And then Rajon Rondo at the end of the game, the game's over, the Heat are going to win. Dwayne Wade drives by him, and he horse collars him, just grabs him around the neck. And I tweeted, Rondo's a punk.
Yeah.
And that was a punk move. And what does Dwayne Wade come out and say after the game? That was a punk move.
Yeah.
It's childish to me, and fake tough guys drive me nuts.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you on the fake tough guys. But here's the question, really, about this whole the Kevin Garnett thing. I'll come back to the Rondo thing in a second. But the thing with Kevin Garnett, I've heard a lot of people be on both sides of this. Some people, in particular Celtics fans, will say, you know what? Ray Allen left us. Kevin Garnett's the leader of this team. I'm glad the leader of my team isn't buddying with the enemy, the guy that left us. I would be disappointed as a Celtics fan if he was, dapping him up and giving him fist pounds and all these different things. I'm glad the face of my team is acting that way because I wouldn't want to see them fraternizing and being buddies. What do you think about that?
I don't really hold to that opinion because last year you saw in the finals, Kevin Durant and LeBron James, they're best friends. They're hugging before and after every game.
Some people don't like that.
And
I
understand something, but I don't think either one of them was letting the other one, trying to let the other one win. It's just about competition, and you understand that even if you are best friends when the ball goes up, that's it. I can hate you during the game. I can do that, but at the same time, you don't have to act like a child, and you don't have to act like, oh, I don't see you. I don't.
And I know a lot of the old school people, Michael and Magic never did that and all that. It's a little bit different. I agree with you. When the competition is between the lines, nobody's trying to help out anybody. I do want to touch on this Rondo situation too because, I just got finished bragging on Rondo. I just got through saying how he was my favorite point guard. I like what he does. Doesn't bother me the fact that he's not a prolific scorer and all that stuff. But the clothesline on Dwayne Wade, no place for it. Because here's the deal. You're frustrated. I know you and Dwayne Wade have some history, going back to the playoffs a couple of years and all that stuff. But the bottom line is you were frustrated that the Miami Heat were pounding you in and out all night long. There's nothing you could do about it. If you want to get mad at Dwayne Wade, you should have did something in the first, second, third quarter. Don't get mad and clothesline somebody late in the game just because you get mad. Next time you see the Miami Heat, come out, play better, handle your business playing basketball. Don't go out clotheslining somebody just because you're mad. It makes you look kind of petty.
Looking at some stats here real quickly. Rondo did have a good game. 20 points, 13 assists, 7 rebounds. He played a pretty good game there as a point guard there for the Boston Celtics, but it was tough because LeBron James had 26 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. Dwayne Wade had 29 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block in 35 minutes. LeBron only played 29 minutes in this game. You had guys like Ray Allen, who got 31 minutes, had 19 points. You got 19 minutes and 10 points out of Rashard Lewis. If you can do that, and you have to play Mike Miller and Norris Cole for 6 and 7 minutes rather than 20 and 25 like you had last year a lot of times, you're in good shape. They had James Jones. Obviously, you wouldn't see him too often, but he didn't play at all yesterday in the game. You had basically the Heat showed why I had them favored. They're deep, they're exciting, and they've got the best player and probably the at least 4th or 5th best player in the world on their team.
Yeah, Mark, let me tell you what I like about this Miami Heat team. I remember last year when you and I were on radio and we were talking about the Heat, one issue I had with the way they were put together is they don't have a lot of guys that can do more than one thing. When you put a team together, they kind of said, okay, we've got Wade, we've got James. They like to drive and penetrate and kick it out to shooters. So let's get a lot of shooters. So then you end up with guys like LeBron and Dwayne Wade, and then a lot of other guys that all they can do is just spot up and shoot. Well, when they're not hitting shots, they can't guard anybody. They can't rebound. That's a problem. You have Ray Allen. Even Ray Allen, well into his 30s, yes, he's a knockdown shooter, but at the same time, he can put it on the floor when he needs to. Rashard Lewis is not the same guy he was back in 2009, but he can still do a little bit more than just spot up and shoot. I like that the Heat snipers, the outside shooters, are now not just guys that can spot up. They can do a few other things, which I think will play big for them come playoff time.
We've got to talk about the Lakers and what we saw from them last night. It was a little bit of a rough start for the new Dream Team. I don't know what we need to call them something. They haven't come out quite with a nickname for them yet, but
yeah, we'll have to get on.
We got to come out with something for them. Help us out with that. Go to Facebook.com/SportsBlitz. Let us know what you want to call the Lakers. We'd love to hear from you today. We're going to talk about them and plenty more right after the break.
Hello, River Valley. This is Doug Duval with Arkansas's first Rack Furniture Warehouse, where we have the largest selection of recliners and mattresses in the state of Arkansas. Come visit us at 2609 East Parkway, the Rack Furniture Warehouse.
Set your sights on savings right now at Honda of Russellville. We're offering our best deals of the year on remaining 2012 Honda ATVs, plus special introductory offers on select new 2013 Honda ATVs, all with zero down and easy monthly payments with approved credit. Be sure to check out the all-new Honda Foreman 4x4, now stronger, smarter, and harder working. How about a side-by-side? Well, Honda's got you covered with the Big Red. Honda's Big Red offers a proven Honda engine, automotive-style Honda automatic transmission with no belts to slip or break. Come in for a test ride today at Arkansas's legendary Honda dealer, Honda of Russellville.
Hello, River Valley. This is Doug Duval again at Arkansas's first Rack Furniture Warehouse, where Leon and I are back in business. We have gallery selection at quality warehouse prices here at the Rack Furniture Warehouse, 2609 East Parkway, Russellville.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Sports Scene of Arkansas offers a wide variety of sporting goods and apparel to meet any athlete's needs. Coaches love the top-of-the-line equipment that gives their players an edge, and parents and fans can't get enough of the high-quality screen printing that allows them to sport their favorite team's logo on jerseys, bags, and hats. Your one-stop shop for embroidery, banners, and much, much more. Visit your local team sports specialists. Sports Scene at 316 West Main in Russellville.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
Live from the River Valley Leader Studio, here are your hosts, Mark Freeman and Weldon Braxton.
Back on a Wednesday here in the Sports Blitz. Mark Freeman, Weldon Braxton in studio. And we were looking at the NBA as the season started. Last night we had the Boston Celtics Miami Heat. The Heat getting a 120-107 win. The Cleveland Cavaliers with a 94-84 win over the Washington John Wallace Wizards, not the Lizards. And then also the Dallas Mavericks got a 99-91 win over the new Dream Team in Staples there in Los Angeles. The Lakers, they looked like they were in La La Land yesterday as the Mavericks, without Dirk Nowitzki. If you were to look at the Dallas Mavericks team from last year and ask who their top 4 or 5 players were, you wouldn't be able to recognize anybody from that team on this team except for maybe Sean Marion. That's the best player that they've got left.
Yeah. I mean, I know O.J. Mayo, some say he's the primary scorer, so it's him. But I'm looking at this Dallas team. First of all, Rick Carlisle can flat-out coach.
Yeah.
Let's get that out clear right now. I mean, look, Los Angeles Lakers come out, you're not sure what they're going to run, trying to talk about this little Princeton style with the handoffs and the backdoor cuts and trying to run pieces of the triangle. As a defense, you really don't know. They scored 29 points in the first quarter. After that, the Lakers scored 17 in the second, 20 in the third, and 25 in the fourth. Rick Carlisle made some adjustments. And remember, no Dirk Nowitzki, no Chris Kaman. Chris Kaman is not a big name, but he is a borderline all-star, serviceable big man. Neither of them played. You had Elton Brand playing center for this team, and they still beat the Lakers with Dwight Howard, with Pau Gasol. Now, in fairness to the Lakers, I'm not going to judge them after one game. They got 81 more to go. I know they don't want to look good until the springtime. That's when they're starting to look, but it just looks strange. First of all, Pau Gasol, made for this offense. We know he's a great European passing big man. That's what you need in this system. Of course, it's going to look like the whole Chris Webber Kings type offense. That's what people need to look at if you're watching at home. But Steve Nash. And I worried about Steve Nash playing away from the ball, and people said, oh, it'll make it work. Kobe Bryant has always had the ball in his hands his entire career. So is Steve Nash. Last time I checked, Mark, there's only one basketball. And to see
Steve, they're still going with that.
Yeah, they're still going with that. And to see Steve Nash without the ball that much, that's kind of strange to me. This Laker offense, it looked good early, but once people figured it out, it wasn't that great. Kobe Bryant wasn't healthy. He shot a great percentage because he got some layups and backdoor stuff off that Princeton look. But this is not how the Lakers want to look, especially going up against a depleted Dallas Mavericks team.
I understand why the Lakers would go with this Princeton style. Kobe is a very smart player, and he'll get open. Steve Nash, very smart player. He'll find open men. Dwight Howard just has to dunk it. Basically, that's all he has to do in this offense. Just stand there under the basket if you're, or wherever you are, just end up dunking the basketball. Pau Gasol, you can let him kind of facilitate and pass that way. So I understand why they did that. Kobe Bryant shot 78% from the field last night. But Pau Gasol had 23 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 blocks. He was the best player on the floor. This offense obviously is tailored to his skill set and his talent. But I understand that Kobe Bryant, Steve Nash, Pau Gasol, Metta World Peace. They're old guys. They're not young spring chickens anymore. So they're not going to be able to just run up and down the floor. They're going to have to use this type of offense to their benefit. Anton Jamison, Steve Blake. These aren't young guys. So I think toward the end of the year, this is going to come out and help them in the long run. I just don't see them being able to compete with the Oklahoma Cities of the world running up and down the floor.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing when you run this kind of offense, though, is you have to be able to hit shots because at some point teams are going to start packing the paint. I mean, the best way to guard against a backdoor cut is pressure the passer one way, but also pack the paint and sacrifice jump shots. Lakers went, I think, 3 for 13 from outside. You can't run this type of offense and get it done. Now, again, I think they will get better. I think Steve Nash and Kobe Bryant will work together a little bit better, but still, they want to look better as they made their debut.
Yeah, I watched the first quarter, and I don't see statistically how the Mavericks won this game. They made 2 more threes. They made 2 more free throws. So there's your difference right there, the 8 points. But they made 2 less field goals. They shot a worse percentage. They got out-rebounded. And basically it was a wash from there on. It was just a couple plays here and there apparently in the end of the game that allowed the Mavericks to go ahead and pull it out. Obviously the Lakers are going to get it all right, and I think you had the Lakers. Where did you have them seated? I had them third.
Yeah, I had the
just because of the growing pains.
Yeah, I think I had the Lakers seated third.
I had San Antonio second and Oklahoma City first.
Yeah, I had the Spurs first. And again, I was torn. I was ready to come in, pick the Oklahoma City Thunder. That James Harden trade, I still got to see how it works out because that was a trade for down the road. Kevin Martin is a gunner. He can't guard, he can't defend, or he can't rebound. Can't distribute. James Harden was kind of the de facto point guard to let Russell Westbrook shoot. Now, you talk about not enough balls in the gym. Kevin Martin, 41% shooter. That's all he shoots from the field with Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant, the best, all-around scorer in the game, not getting his touches. I want to see how that works.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I definitely have to give that thought. I picked Oklahoma City to go to the finals. before the trade, and I kind of had to stick with it after, just because of the fact that I really think I think that Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook are good enough with Serge Ibaka and the team that they've got around them to just run the Lakers to death. I know that Dwight Howard and Kobe Bryant and those guys are going to have a say at the end. I think the Spurs are a little old. That's going to be, at some point, their age is going to catch up with them. I'm expecting it to be this year. If it's not, they're still not going to win the championship because they're not going to beat the Heat anyway.
Yeah, I don't see anybody.
Let's look at some wire topics real quickly, Weldon. I'm sure that there are some things that are come across the wire right now that you found interesting before we go to break.
Yeah, a few things. Of course, we put a bow on baseball the other day. Mark probably just had a heart attack. What? Baseball again?
I can't believe it.
I do want to announce some Gold Glove winners of note. Yankees struggled, but they did have Mark Teixeira and Robinson Cano win Gold Gloves. In the AL, Adam Jones from Baltimore Orioles winning it at center field. That was kind of controversial. Some people thought Mike Trout, the sensational rookie, should have won it. Then you look in the National League, Mark Burley, Adam LaRoche, Jimmy Rollins, Jason Hayward, Andrew McCutchen. McCutchen had a great year. Pittsburgh collapsed down the year. But those are just a few of your AL Gold Glove winners. It's always good to acknowledge the defense every now and then.
Yeah. Mike Trout did get robbed, though, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it was close. Jones won it last year. Obviously, Trout will be Rookie of the Year. I don't think there's any question about that. But I could see that one going either way. But news that came down this morning, Mark, going back to football, the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of talk, questions about who are they going to name as the starting quarterback. They go with Michael Vick. I don't have any problem with this. I really think at this point Nick Foles is not the answer. You're trying to save your season, a rookie quarterback going to New Orleans. And, yes, that defense is bad. But anytime you play in a place with that kind of crowd, best home field advantage as far as noise in the league, and they've got some pass rushers, don't want to put the rookie in that situation. Andy Reid's going to go down apparently with the ship as far as a starting quarterback.
Yeah. A couple other news and notes here. It looks like Amari Stoudemire is going to be out 6 to 8 weeks for the Knicks. Jeff Fisher says the St. Louis Rams will not trade Steven Jackson. That's fantasy football information for those of you that have Steven Jackson. You might as well just put him on your bench and let him rot there because he's not going to get the ball anymore. They're in St. Louis. They don't care. They just want to throw the ball every down and hand it to Richardson. And I'm speaking from frustration here because I've got Steven Jackson in 2 of my leagues. Also, Tywan Lawson has signed a 4-year extension with the Denver Nuggets. That's big news for him and Denver as they try to build around Ty Lawson. And they've got a good little squad there going in Denver. I know you like them.
Yeah, I'm a big Denver Nuggets fan. Again, I don't like them to win a championship, but I think they can be sort of the Indiana Pacers of the West, have a roster full of good players, and kind of just be a steady, consistent team. Again, I think you need a star to win it all, but I like the Nuggets to compete.
All right, we got to hit a break. When we come back, we've got Arkansas Razorbacks information. They played the red-white game, and we'll go over that as well as get you ready for the Tulsa Golden Hurricane.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
It doesn't matter what you're looking for, chances are Good Deal Charlie Discount Furniture has it. From living room, bedroom, and dining furniture to one-of-a-kind pieces, Good Deal Charlie has everything. The staff is pleasant and always friendly, so you'll feel no pressure to buy. With new and used furniture for your home or office, you can find everything you need at the best possible prices at 2209 East Main Street in Russellville. Good Deal Charlie.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out rivervalleyleader.com.
Live from the River Valley Leader Studio, here are your hosts, Mark Freeman and Weldon Braxton.
All right, basketball fans, you thought we were through when we started talking about the NBA, but it's time to get a little deeper into basketball, but we're not talking about NBA anymore. It's Arkansas Razorbacks basketball season, and although the football team has disappointed, we've got a little bit of a ray of sunshine, if you will, Weldon, and that's the Razorback basketball team looks to be much improved.
Yeah, they do. I mean, we saw sort of a high-scoring red-white game, 85-75. From what I've heard and people I've talked to, looks like the tempo was up, the flow was there. You know, you don't expect perfection yet. Mike Anderson will drill it, though. But, of course, B.J. Young, Marshawn Powell, that's who we look to first when we look at this Razorback team. But also the complementary players as well, the guys like Cody Clark. And I know you mentioned seeing Alondes Harris out there is kind of like a tease since he won't be eligible to play this year. But, you know, the depth, that's the thing when you have a Mike Anderson-type team is you always look to see if not who's contributing, but how many people are contributing. And it looks like a lot of these guys are going to be in the rotation.
The Red won 85-75. They were led by 28 points from B.J. Young, who also had 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and played a very good game there in 35 of the 40 minutes. Hunter Mickelson did have a double-double, 20 points and 10 rebounds with 7 blocks and 3 steals. Hunter Mickelson just stacked and stuffed the stat sheet last night, and if he's going to be that good, Arkansas is going to be in pretty good shape as far as basketball goes this season. You had 10 points and 13 rebounds from Alondes Harris. That's just a tease, and that makes me angry. Anthlon Bell, 5 threes, 19 points to lead the red team in three-point shooting. 5 of 8 threes. That's definitely going to come in handy. And then for the white team, you had let's see. The leading scorer was Marshawn Powell with 22 points, 6 rebounds. You also had 8 points and 11 rebounds from Cody Clark, 11 points from Kiko Hadar, 10 points from Davion Spivey, and 13 points from Ricky Scott. A couple of these guys, Davion Spivey and Kiko Hadar, probably not going to see the floor too much, but you did see good things out of Marshawn Powell, who apparently looks like he's back to healthy, back to normal. And Mardrakus Wade, Ricky Scott, Cody Clark look pretty good.
Yeah, and then those are the guys that are going to really have to play well. I mean, Ricky Scott, when I look at a team early in a given season, I want to see if they went back and worked on things I thought they needed to improve on from the previous year. And I'm just looking at Mardrakus Wade. I didn't get to watch, but I hope he's improved as a ball handler. He was a good spot-up shooter, one of the top spot-up shooters in the SEC, actually. But I want to see him put it on the floor more. I want to see him be a more all-around player. Ricky Scott, I think everybody can agree, stay under control. I mean, Ricky Scott's like a bull in a china shop. I mean, he's just everywhere. He's got good size. I think he's got some ability and some physical skills, but he's got to tone it down, be under control. B.J. Young, I know he's not going to be the point guard, but at the same time, he's going to be looked at as sort of a backcourt leader for this team. I want him to embrace that role. He has to understand he's not just another good player on a good AAU team. He's a leader of a basketball team that expects to be good. And then Marshawn Powell, yes, he got hurt last year, and it was hard to tell what he was going to turn into. But the last time we saw Marshawn Powell play a full year, my question to him was his motor. Was he going to show up? Was he going to play, every single play like it was his last? Was he going to hustle? I hope he brings the energy and effort. If this team makes the individual improvements that I'm hoping they make, they should be a tournament team.
To me, the thing that I want to see from this team is getting back to a certain style of basketball. That's really what we're looking for. As Arkansas fans, we want to go back to that 40 minutes, fastest 40 minutes in basketball style that Mike Anderson, Nolan Richardson brought. We're excited by that. So that's what we want to see. We know that it creates matchup problems for the other team because really if you look at college basketball, the landscape, there are only a handful of teams who could really handle any athletes, not even great athletes and great basketball players, anybody running them like the old Arkansas teams could do to you. And then you put these guys in there like Marshawn Powell and B.J. Young, who are NBA talents. You can cause some trouble. So I want to see that, but I want to see him play 40 minutes of that style. Mike Anderson said, we'd have 25 minutes of hell and 15 minutes of what the. So we've got to get to where you can play 40 minutes in that style. And then also, one big thing that you have to look at with this, last year you couldn't do it because you didn't have the depth. This year, it looks like you're going to have 9 or 10 guys that you can play and you can count on. You've got to have that because you can't lose a whole lot from your first team to your second team. You can't lose a whole lot as you bring in subs. If you drop down, that's where teams will make up the difference, and then you've lost all the equity that you've built up as far as a lead or whatever based on running these teams to death.
And I think that's where Arkansas's improvement is really going to be. First of all, Mike Anderson's a great teacher. He doesn't get enough credit for that. I'm going to put that to the side and talk about Mike as a teacher here in a minute. But just the style of play, and you touched on it. You have all these McDonald's All-Americans, all of the Kentucky players of the world. When you got pressure breathing down your neck, causing you to struggle just to get the ball up the floor, struggling to get in an offensive sets, I don't care how many stars you have by your name coming out of high school. That has an impact on you.
Yes.
And as far as Mike Anderson, people don't realize, they don't give him credit. I'm really serious when I talk about this because I've heard some asinine comments and I want to address them. People don't give Mike Anderson credit for being a fundamental basketball teacher. Everybody sees this style of play and think, oh, Mike can just throw athletes out there and run. Oh, wait, we threw athletes out there last year. We didn't win. What happened? No. Mike Anderson's a basketball teacher. He is not defined by this style of play. He likes it, obviously. He employs it. He knows the fans love it. But Mike's a basketball coach first, just like John Wooden or Bob Knight, anybody like that. He's a basketball coach first. He's not just somebody just throws players out there and say, hey, run around and play fast. That's absolutely dumb. I remember when they played Memphis. He was at Missouri, and they played Memphis in the NCAA tournament. And they asked him, Coach, Memphis likes to press too. Are you still going to press him? He said, I'm going to do what I have to do to win. If that means not pressing, we won't press. I'm a basketball coach first. And I just get tired of people blaming Mike Anderson and watching what happened last year and saying, see, you can't just throw athletes out there. That's all Mike does. Mike's a great teacher, and he emphasizes fundamentals. I want people to remember that when they watch him.
And the benefit to this, and what we're trying to say here, is that you give a guy like Mike Anderson, who we know can coach, and he can coach up talent that they won 18 games last year with the talent that he had.
That's right.
And he had no Marshawn Powell. He didn't have his best player all year, won 18 games. You give that guy talent on top of the ability that he has to coach, and look out. I'm looking at 9 guys that I see right now who are able to contribute today. If the game were today, obviously Friday they'll take on Lemoyne Owen in their first exhibition.
I think it's Southwest. I think actually Southwest Baptist.
Oh, okay.
Friday night.
So the first one's not Lemoyne Owen.
Yeah, but I think Lemoyne Owen's coming up though.
Okay, so they play Friday night.
Yeah, Friday night. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then you've got guys. I'm just looking at 9 names. I look for other guys that aren't on that list, like Ja'Cory Williams and Fred Gully. He'll be eligible second semester.
Right.
I look for them to make an impact at some point. D. Wagner, man. This team can be pretty good.
And the thing about it with Mike is once he's teaching these players, it's not about, he was only a 2-star player. Kentucky didn't recruit him. He must not be good.
Yeah.
We don't need superstars. We need people who are basketball smart, who have some athleticism, and who are willing to work. You give Mike Anderson,
to work. That's it.
Yeah, you give Mike Anderson that, you've got it. Don't talk to me about last year when Haydar was getting significant minutes. You got Michael Sanchez as one of your main post players. You want to make an excuse to me and complain about me, given what they had last year? Stop it. Just stop.
All right, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to look at what the Arkansas football team is going to have to do to win against Tulsa. A couple months ago, we would have never thought that this would be a question. What do you have to do to win against Tulsa? But, at this point in the season, we just need to get a win over anybody. So we'll look at that, and also our power rankings. We'll give you a little bit more. We've got plenty of stuff left to hit, not a whole lot of show left to do it.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
Sports Scene of Arkansas offers a wide variety of sporting goods and apparel to meet any athlete's needs. Coaches love the top-of-the-line equipment that gives their players an edge, and parents and fans can't get enough of the high-quality screen printing that allows them to sport their favorite team's logo on jerseys, bags, and hats. Your one-stop shop for embroidery, banners, and much, much more. Visit your local team sports specialists. Sports Scene at 316 West Main in Russellville.
AR Sports present the 2012 River Valley Football Magazine, featuring profiles of local high school football teams, as well as college football previews and player spotlights. Professional photography accompanies top-notch writing throughout to bring you the best locally focused publication in Arkansas. You'll enjoy special tributes to local legends Jerry Aiken and Don Sevier, as well as an exclusive interview with Razorback all-time great Clint Sterner in this year's magazine. Available at fine establishments throughout the River Valley. Pick up your copy of River Valley Football Magazine today.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Live from the River Valley Leader Studio, here are your hosts, Mark Freeman and Weldon Braxton.
So it's going to take points to beat Tulsa, huh? We're back on the Sports Blitz, wondering on the break time what it's going to take to beat Tulsa for the Razorbacks. Man, it's been a very, very disappointing season, I know. For those of you Razorback football fans out there, you know, we were talking about coaching the last couple weeks. We've been talking about who the Razorbacks need to get, who you would expect that the Hogs are going to end up hiring. And we asked today the question, what would be the best coaching job? And it's Facebook.com/SportsBlitz. What would be the best head coaching job in all of sports? Landon Crouch, who I'm not real sure is American, says that he's going with the manager of Manchester United. Most storied franchise in the most popular sport in the world, Sir Alex Ferguson has the best job in the world. Enjoy that one. I'm from America. I don't care about soccer. Ryan Martin says, I think the best job right now has to be Kentucky basketball. Coach Cal can recruit any player he wants right now. He's taking young athletes who've never had anything and turning them into millionaires in 1 year. What 18-year-old basketball star doesn't want to go to that? I can see that as being a good thought there. But Weldon, I know we've got another month and a half, well, probably a month, maybe a month and a half before we talk about the actual hiring of Razorbacks coach.
Let's just say it's a month.
It's a month. But there's a couple games that have to be played before then. This week you got Tulsa.
Yeah, you got the Tulsa Golden Hurricane, and they're I think they're 7-1 on the year. They've won games. Now you look at who they've beaten. You're not going to be overly impressed. The only real big-time team they've beaten, I use that term loosely, is Iowa State. Lost 38-23. You know, Iowa State, Paul Rhodes, who's on the Arkansas list, on a lot of people's short list for the Arkansas job, you know, he's a defensive guy. 38-23. This Tulsa offense can run the ball. I mean, with Coach Blankenship, that's what they do. They run the football. They're going to get their quarterback back. Cody Green is coming back. He missed last week with a shoulder injury. Arkansas has got to stop the run. I mean, in Tulsa, they're almost Oregon-like. They're putting 39 points a game up. They're doing it with the run. They can throw it, too. They'll throw for about 200 a game. So a relatively balanced attack, but it'll lean towards the run. You know, Paul Haynes came in this year talking about stopping the run, stopping the run, stopping the run. Well, it's time for him to put his money where his mouth is and really stop the run, because against Tulsa, if you let them get going and be balanced, which is what they want to do,
you're gonna get beat.
Maybe a shootout. Tyler Wilson may have to score some points for us to win this game.
Arkansas is going to be without Chris Gregg, going to be without Niall Davis this week. It's going to be a tough road to hoe for the Arkansas offense. Dennis Johnson's going to have to carry the team again. You know, Dennis Johnson's mom apparently came and spoke to him and told him, you need to get your head out of your rear and get it together. And he did in a big way. Led his career high in rushing yards. Was all for naught against Ole Miss, but I expect that Dennis Johnson is going to have to take a lot of pressure off Tyler Wilson. Man, Tyler Wilson has not looked the same this season. I don't know if it's the offensive line woes, if it's the fact that the running game hasn't been quite what he expected, and all the new receivers, but he hasn't looked comfortable. He hasn't had a good pocket to set up in and throw, and Tyler Wilson has just been in a lot of trouble the last couple weeks, and Dennis Johnson's going to have to take some pressure off of him. Yeah,
I mean, really all roads lead back to Tyler Wilson, and I've heard many people talk, and there's been conversation about, you know, what's the difference between Tyler Wilson of last year and Tyler Wilson of this year? You know, has he regressed? We know he hasn't improved. Has he regressed? Has he stayed the same? And a lot of it has to do with the circumstances. Offensive line has been inconsistent. The running game has been inconsistent. You really had no running game with Niall and DJ until DJ decided to step up and play well the last couple of weeks. You got a brand new receiving corps. Chris Gregg's been in and out of the lineup. A lot of things weighing against Tyler Wilson, but they need him in this game. It'll be interesting to see what Arkansas does from a strategic standpoint. I wouldn't be surprised if Arkansas tried to hold the ball. I mean, against Tulsa, you would never think Arkansas would try to hold the ball.
No way.
But I think Arkansas, in the end, can go out and win in a shootout, really, if they wanted to. But that defense has got to be able to hold up against the run. And Arkansas can't turn it over, because you can't turn the ball over against a team that likes to run the football. They'll just melt the clock and keep it away from you. So I think if Arkansas takes care of the ball. Tulsa's defense is nothing special. We should score, but I don't want us to score and turn the ball over 4 times in the process.
Tulsa's given up 25.6 points per game, 56th in the country, only to be outdone by Arkansas, who's given up 30 points a game, which is 90th in the country. Arkansas's got to take care of the ball. You're right. You're very right about that. They've got to take care of the ball. They're going to give up points, so they've got to score too. That 11-21 kickoff for homecoming, I don't know how that's going to work out.
Another one.
Yeah, think about that. Yeah, that's punishment now that every game's on TV. They're going to make sure that the sorry teams play at 11 o'clock in the morning, so it's out of the way. Which, thank you, because now that the Razorbacks are not very good, by 2:30, 3 o'clock, I can go on with the rest of my day and not even have to think about it anymore.
Exactly.
Hopefully, though, for Razorback fans, and we're just a little bitter as Razorback fans, the Hogs can get a win. They're going to have to. We'll talk more about it on Friday. They're going to have to take care of the football. They're going to have to score. We'll look at predictions on Prediction Friday. We'll give you what we expect numbers-wise from the game, who we expect to have big games. I'm going to say right now that I think the Hogs will win, but
you don't sound confident.
Between now and Friday, there's no telling what will change there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Tulsa, they've won games. They haven't beaten anybody. But at the same time, there's something to be said for actually winning games when you're like Arkansas and you found ways to lose. And that's what was frustrating about the Ole Miss game was we've been beaten down, A&M, Alabama. They beat us down. But it seems like we found a way to lose against Ole Miss, and that's just really frustrating.
Yeah, sounds like the good old days when we would invent creative ways to lose.
Yeah.
That was fantastic back in the day. All right, before we get out of here today, let's look at our NFL power rankings and some things that we do weekly. We've got some NFL football games that will come up on Sunday, but we haven't told you our power rankings for the week, so let's look at them. Well, a little bit of a shake-up, but not too many surprises in our power rankings.
Yeah, not a big shake-up. You want to go ahead and read the list?
At 5, we've got the New England Patriots, who last week were not on the list. The New York Giants at number 4. They've been higher and lower throughout the season. They weren't very impressive last week in a win over the sorry Dallas Cowboys, my Dallas Cowboys. Number 3, San Francisco 49ers. They've earned their way back up higher on the list. The Atlanta Falcons, the only undefeated team in all of the NFL, at number 2, and then the Houston Texans at number 1. To us, it's kind of a toss-up between them and Atlanta, but Atlanta hasn't really played anybody. Houston's looked dominant.
Yeah, I mean, and here's what I'm thinking, and why I like the way we have our power rankings is Houston, they've been playing the best football. Yes, they have a loss, but I didn't feel like they did anything to get themselves knocked off because they didn't play last week. Now, the Atlanta Falcons at 2, I said on the show Friday, if the Atlanta Falcons go up on the road against a desperate, talented, explosive Eagles team and they win it, I got to take notice. Yes, the Eagles have struggled, but I know a lot of other people said Philadelphia will rise up. They'll stand up in that game and play. Falcons still got it done. That resonates with me. I got to move Atlanta up. San Francisco, yeah, I know it was Arizona. Arizona's not great, but to me it was more about the 49ers. I'm looking at what they did, the improvements they made, getting back to their running game, getting back to stopping the run. Teams had kind of gashed them lately, so they're back up to 3. And then the Giants got on my nerves. I mean, Eli Manning, yes, he's been clutch, but a lot of that clutchness has to do with him turning it over, having to bring them back. And then the defense did most of the work against the Cowboys, setting them up in good field position, getting turnovers against Tony Romo. And then when Romo and company were coming back and it was time for Eli and company to make plays, they didn't. I got to penalize the Giants for that. And then at 5, a lot of teams we could have looked at, the Broncos, Bears, Packers, handful of teams. I went with New England just because they were dominant against the Rams. A Rams team with an improving defense, not great, but they put up 45. Gronkowski, sensational. I got to go with the Pats at 5.
So there's our NFL power rankings. Again, on Friday, we will give you a little bit more as far as a breakdown. We'll look at high school sports. That's our Rack Furniture Warehouse local sports segment. We'll look at more hog stuff. That's brought to you by Honda of Russellville. And we'll also break down some games as far as what we predict on a Prediction Friday. We gave you some predictions on Monday from the NBA, and I know we're just hodgepodging here at the end of the show.
Yeah.
But we gave you our MVPs. I had Kevin Durant, and you had Rajon Rondo. The NBA writers on ESPN.com have LeBron James winning it again, 4th time. That would be something if he were to win another MVP. I would be very excited about that, but
I know you would.
I don't know that that's going to happen. They've also got Anthony Davis favored over my guy Damian Lillard. We obviously thought Anthony Davis would be the Rookie of the Year. I gave another name in Damian Lillard.
Yeah, and my guy was Anthony Davis too. The name I threw out actually played really well yesterday, Deion Waiters in Cleveland. I mean, he looked really good. So a lot of rookies going to compete for that.
And then there are other guys who you can go look at as far as the ESPN rankings. Well, I say rankings, their predictions as Defensive Player of the Year. They've got Dwight Howard there. Then they've also got, I guess LeBron James is on the list a couple times. He's got 4 votes. He's second. Dwight Howard, 27 votes to lead the Defensive Player of the Year rankings there at ESPN.com. So those are pretty interesting, and we'll get a little bit deeper into predictions on Friday. One quick note here that we need to make mention of, and it's about a former Arkansas Razorbacks basketball commit who had decommitted, and now he has found himself a school. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but Dedrick Lee, Clarksville's own, going to Oral Roberts.
Okay.
Committed to play basketball for the Golden Eagles. Got a Division I offer. Now he's going to be close to home. Got some family there in Northwest Arkansas, so that's why originally he's a Razorback fan, and he wanted to go play for the Razorbacks. That just didn't quite happen. So now he's going to stay in that Northwest Arkansas area and get to play there at Tulsa for Oral Roberts. It's a huge, huge deal for him, and I talked to Coach Davis about it the other day, and he said he was unbelievably relaxed in practice the day that he committed because it was like 1,000 pounds came off his shoulders.
I'm really happy for Dedrick. We know he's been a tremendous player the last few years, having the pleasure to watch him. And, a lot of times when you commit that early, different things happen. It doesn't always work out. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with Arkansas, wrong with Dedrick. Dedrick's a good player. He just found a situation that's better for him and more comfortable, and that's what the recruiting process and committing to a college is all about.
And we're definitely proud. I know Dedrick from what I've seen the last 2 or 3 years there covering Clarksville. He is an outstanding player, an outstanding human being. I look forward to seeing where his brothers go the year after next when they go ahead and commit next year to play somewhere. They've gotten looks from a lot of different places, a lot of guys from there at Clarksville, and a lot of guys from around the area. Michael Perry and some others here from Russellville, like Jalen Curtis and some of those in football, are going to be going and playing big-time sports in college at the next level. So congratulations to Dedrick going to Oral Roberts, and we'll give you any information that we get as far as any other players who commit to go play college ball. I think Corey Campbell from Pottsville is a football player now. He's a baseball player in the spring, and he has committed a couple years ago to go play baseball for the Razorbacks. So, if that sticks, he's a senior this year. If that sticks, that'll be a huge, huge deal for him to go play for the Hogs. But we got some great athletes around the area, and we are very happy to be covering them.
Yeah, how about Pottsville? And send Jeremy Ward up, and then if Campbell goes up and plays baseball for the Diamond Hogs, look out Pottsville. Michael Perry, we know he's going to be somewhere. So
yeah, it's going to be big. Well, thank you for joining us on a Wednesday. We'll be back on Friday to bring you more in sports. So it's Prediction Friday, so we want you to get involved with us. Go to facebook.com/sportsblitz, like our page. Go to facebook.com/RVL News and get in touch with us for the Sports Blitz. For Weldon, I'm Mark. So long. We'll see you on Friday.
Picture yourself in a living room.